For the South African grain and oilseed industry, the past year was marked by a combination of issues and breakthroughs. The impact of varying climatic conditions and war on the international front required constant communication from Grain SA. An all-time high in media reporting reflected both industry challenges and achievements.
Communication is a fundamental part of the business. You need to communicate to the wider, broader public, explaining what's going on in the grain industry, but you also need to communicate back to your members, making sure that the right messages get out to the world and that the facts is put on the table.
These facts clearly illustrated pressure on farming margins over the past season. Whilst a high international demand for grains and oilseeds led to increased market prices, our input prices were at record highs. Similarly, climatic conditions caused both gains and losses.
In the summer rainfall area, we had a fairly wet season. Some areas were waterlogged, but for crops, especially like soybeans, it was an excellent year. We had record yields and a record soybean crop. When we get to winter cereals, especially down in the Western Cape, it was a very good season up until harvesting time, and then they had large amounts of rain just before harvest, and that caused massive losses to the winter cereal farmers.
On the canola side, however, a record harvest was managed, after the scarcity of seed initially caused concerns.
And in September 2023, we sent a delegation to Australia to go and meet with the decision makers, to go and meet with the breeders of canola, to make sure we have enough seed, canola seed going forward.
In terms of soya seed, the breeding and technology levy is certainly bearing fruit.
In the past season, we've seen 67 new varieties coming to the market in only 1 year.
To ensure offset, exports to China were secured through an approved protocol.
We exported 150,000 tons of soybeans to China, but we managed to open other markets as well. So all in all, I think we are close to exporting 600,000 tons of soybeans this season.
New markets were also opened for maize exports. And since there's been a backlog at Durban Harbour, additional options were sought.
We've seen exports going out through East London Harbour and through Mozambique through the Maputo Harbour.
All round, Grain SA's engagement with stakeholders across the value chain is result-driven. This included relief on grading regulations for water-damaged and discoloured white maize, as well as negotiations on the diesel rebate.
If we talk about the new diesel rebate system, there's lots of improvement in terms of, for example, communication. Farmers will be able to set up their own profile of their own farm with their specific vehicles that uses diesel. So there are, however, issues that we still need to clarify with, especially Treasury.
Regarding the statutory appointment of leaf services, Grain SA has been relentless in questioning of the intended R4 per tonne for regrading of grains.
And we've calculated that we have saved our farmers 500 million rand because we could keep them away from the market so far. We have the opportunity now to look at where they can actually add value to the industry rather than just duplicate the functions we already have.
Great progress has also been made on the location differential, starting with a new system for soybeans to be tested for 2 years.
Uiteindelik gaan dit vir Graan SA om ons lede wat die eienaars is van die organisasie winsgewend en volhoubaar op die plaas te kry.
As production, marketing and business requirements change, so too it became necessary for Grain SA to adapt and restructure.
In die afgelope 20 plus jaar het baie omstandighede verander. Die vrye mark is aktief. Ons ding mee teen die res van die wêreld. Ons het seker maak ons bly die mondstuk van produsente. En is dit nodig dat mens van tyd tot tyd kyk na die funderende dokumentasie van die organisasie om seker te maak dit is nog gerad om soepel en aanpasbaar te wees vir die toekoms. En daarom het die hoofbestuur goedgekeur dat die pad vorentoe ondersteun sal word binne 'n groep van entiteite met Graan SA as non-profit organisation, 'n private maatskappy, 'n ontwikkelingsentiteit en 'n trust.
To facilitate a smooth transition, the financial department was on board from the word go.
We had to look at the various entities. All 4 of them has different legal formats. So there's different reporting standards and requirements. The VAT and the tax are treated differently. So we had to take all of that into consideration in order to align with this move.
Ons funderende dokumentasie regstegnies, belastinggewys is opdateer en reg om effektief te funksioneer in die toekoms.
Parallel to this, Grain SA's fresh new brand identity was successfully introduced across communication platforms. The essence of the new look was also extended to the different entities, confirming the collective nature of the organization.
It can only be better when we work together and when we try to solve problems on a collective basis.
In this way, a lot of work goes into ensuring that NAMPO continues to grow as a platform for successful industry interaction, from Bothaville to Bredasdorp and back for the latest edition of the NAMPO brand.
For all our events, we were privileged to have record figures in terms of attendance, in terms of the amount of exhibitors, which is really important for us to make sure that we progress into the future.
Along with the growing success of NAMPO, a focused marketing strategy has led to an increase in Grain SA membership. This is pivotal to maintain the organization's core functions.
We're a producer organization owned by producers, and that's where they put in their ownership, is when they pay their levies and have their say in terms of that.
This certainly pertains to Grain SA's research coordination, driven by our producers' needs.
To link the research fraternity with the producer fraternity, and that's the role we play, is to get that 2 worlds together. And it's not always a reactive thing, but also a proactive thing, looking into the future.
Due to the specialized requirements and high cost of research projects, several private and governmental partners are involved.
We go and identify the needs, we obtain the funding for that specific needs, and then we go and see who's the researchers that's the best in the industry or does have the best resources to do that specific research. And then we facilitate the process to make sure that we achieve the goals of all the programs that we're involved in. But we're very fortunate to have these partnerships and to make great strides in terms of it.
Currently, there's a lot of emphasis on diseases impacting plant health, as well as agronomy within a changing production environment. Grain SA was also a key role player in the launch of the National Biosecurity Hub. This partnership links our members to a diagnostic service coordinated by the University of Pretoria, while also providing survey data.
The surveys is playing a very important role for us in establishing export markets as well. That's a huge part that this system plays a role in.
Research projects undertaken by farmers on ground level is another vital factor to sustainability and also involves developing farmers.
Climate variability is the biggest challenge that we've experienced. In fact, not just in the past season, in fact, the past couple of seasons, we've experienced some serious erratic weather conditions, and that has really affected the output.
Climate affects us all, and as the development entity within the Grain SA group, the Pahama Grain Pakama team shares information on techniques to counter an ever-changing environment. This has resulted in amazing breakthroughs despite challenges.
You know, we're working with resilient farmers. We continue to see farmers coming back, trying to make it work again and again. And those that do are the guys that continuously show up as the shining stars in the program, and of course for our country and the industry.
This is the tenacity recognized at the Day of Celebration across a wide range of farming scales. The event also presents a platform for celebrating the collaboration with partners who continues to invest in an entity whose very name signifies growth of grain farmers. In fact, we've seen farmers who have come through the ranks to be right up there with our top-yielding farmers in Grain SA's Grow for Gold competition.
And really this kind of growth is a kind of growth that is one of the most needed accelerated growth for developing farmers in this country.
When it comes to the Grain Producer of the Year award, perseverance is always characteristic of the nominees. and 2023 was no exception.
So it's not just about mega farmers or big farmers. It's farmers that's making a difference with what they have. It's showcasing the value and the greatness of the grain producer in terms of what he achieved in his scenario on his farm.
As we've now entered a new season with Tobias Doyer as CEO, Grain SA will continue to grow and adapt, making plans to keep our farmers sustainable.